So for those of you on the line, what happened was we had a phone was inadvertently switched in our conference room to a non-hands-free. So we were trying to talk, and we could hear everyone else, but it wasn't transmitting our audio. So unfortunately, we figured that out way too late. But we'll be recording the webinar now. So again, you feel free to either watch and then ask questions at the end, or you can type in questions while it's still going on if you have any questions about anything. And we will be posting this on our website. So, and then we'll be sending a notice to everyone who's signed up for the webinar that it is on our website. So then anyone can review it at a later date. And again, we will be we'll be hosting another webinar maybe in a few weeks to a month. I'm not quite sure yet, but it'll be just for any questions that you have about the report writing that we're going to post. So anyway, are you ready to start recording? Okay, so let me know when you go.
Actually, I'm sorry. Better recording.
What?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Introduction to Report Writing for Business Objects. So go here. So as an introduction, we have 3 help desk experts that are familiar with business objects. They are Brenda Washington, who's myself, Divya Bhatia, and Walter Thompson. So if you have any issues with creating reports, passwords, the business object system isn't working, anything like that, please feel free to contact us. And our contact information is below. The first one is cmshelp@dhcs.ca.gov. It's just our CMSNet Help Desk inbox. Or you can call us at that toll-free number below that will connect you to the CMSNet Help Desk. Now, if you are calling specific to business objects, just say that your issue is business objects related, and they'll connect you to one of us, and we'll be able to help you with your request. So this is an overview of business objects. It is a software reporting system, as it says, that allows users to view and create reports through a secure website. Now, our data is restricted, so if you are a county user, you can only see information on any clients who currently are or have ever been in your county. For state users, we have access to all counties. And that also includes the regional office if you're unsure, regional office users. So a little bit of background. CMSNet data was available in business objects beginning in 2002. It's updated every single night, and it only contains current information, what we call a snapshot of CMSNet, because what we do every night is we overwrite everything that was in business objects with the prior day's information. So if you called into the help desk and had us remove maybe from denied back to pending or closed back to active, you can't see that it was at one time closed because we actually deleted it. And it's not really shown anymore on your screens. But anything you can see on your screen will be that day. I guess the next day it'll be in business objects. It also does not contain every single solitary data element on CMSNet, but it does contain most of the fields that we thought were useful for reporting. Now, there are a lot of fields, such as SAR information, the big one, MTP, that are not in business objects, and we're currently working on it. But if there are any specific fields that you think would be very helpful for reporting needs, you can send us an email at cmshelp@dhcs.ca.gov and just mention it's for business objects. Please, I need these fields for reporting or something like that. Just let us know it's business objects and you want fields added, and then tell us what fields they are and what screens they are in, if they're in legacy, if they're in the web, exactly where in the web, so then we can amend it to our request and hopefully get those in there for you. Now, while you're working in business objects, this information will be very helpful. It's called a data dictionary. And what it is a list of all the fields that we have in business objects and what they mean. And let me pull up that document. Okay, so this is our data dictionary, and it's in each field is in the same order that you would see it in business objects. And it'll tell you a little bit about maybe what the allowable values are in the field, or some comments about the field to the right. And each gray row is basically a folder in business objects. So they're all grouped in different folders. So the patient registration one is obviously the largest folder, and you can see there are lots of fields, 7 pages. But anyway, this document is on our CMSNet website that you get this computes letters and notices, things like that, CMSNet manuals. The business object information is also on that website, so you can see that there. Okay, go back to the slideshow. Okay, so for report building, we have a report writing guide that has tips on how to do certain things in reports. And that's on our Business Objects webpage. And then so you can get forms for access, manuals, webinars, websites, all of our documentation is on that website. I don't know what else I have on this slide, but I'm going to just quickly show you that page. This is our Business Objects page. It's let me show you where to get it. So if you're on the main CCS page under County CCS Programs, you can see the first link is called Business Objects. And so that's at www.dhcs.ca.gov/services/CCS. And that will take you to this page. And then once I click it, it has all of our documentation here on this page. And again, that'll be very helpful for when you're creating reports or want to find out what a corporate document does. It's all there. Okay. I don't know what else I have here. Okay, so for today, we will show you how to create, save, print, and send reports. So we will be doing those tools, but we aren't going to be using any PHI because we don't want to send one county's information to another county that's on the call or on the website. We don't want just anyone accessing the client's information. So we're going to be using some fields that are not PHI. But the tools that you will use today, you'll be able to pull up your PHI reports if you need to. Okay. So if you haven't been in Business Objects before, if you go to the Business Objects webpage, under Websites, we have a county and state access. So for the county users, you click on this link, and it'll take you to the county website, and you can log in with your username and password. I'm going to log in today with my state account. I'm going to go back. And so county users, your passwords expire every 60 days, so make sure you update them before then. If not, we can always change them for you, or you can, if you know your own secret question and answer, you can do it. But, state users, you just use your Outlook information to log in, and it changes whenever your Outlook information changes. Okay, and so mine goes directly to my corporate documents, but some of you might not have that yet set. You set it in under your preferences, and that's right here in your preferences. You can set where exactly your Business Objects opens, how many reports are open at one time on your screen right here. So I have mine set so it goes directly to CMS eligibility at the very beginning. But if you're on that main home screen, just click. I think there's 2 ways you can get. There's a toolbar that says document list that you can click, or there's actually a text that says document list on the page. Click either of those and you'll get to the screen with all the folders. So if you've never been in Business Objects before, you can see it's broken up into different areas. There's My Favorites, there's an Inbox, and there's Public folders. My Favorites is where all of your reports that you create are going to be saved. The Inbox is if anyone sends a report to you, that's where you will find it. And Public folders is where all the reports that we create here are posted so then people can just run them. That's mainly where people go if they're going for the performance measure reports we've already created, or if they're not a report writer and they want to run reports, they'll go into the Public folders. Okay, so since we are report writers today, we are going to learn how to create a new document. So you see this new icon or new little button up here. If you click the down arrow right next to it, you can highlight this Web Intelligence document. And then if you click it, you will get to a page with lots of different what we call universes. Now most of these you will not use, so let me show you how to find the one you do want to use. Under Folder, look for this. It says CMS/CMS-PRD. That's the production universe that has all of our current CMSNet data for eligibility. So that's this one right here. And just a sidebar, if you weren't able to click down on the drop-down New and click Web Intelligence document, then you do not have report writing capability, and you need to contact us. Your CCS administrator needs to contact us with your name and ask for report writing access. Okay, so if we click CMS, it thinks for a while. The county system is a little slower than the state, so I'll try to slow it down my speech a little so then you can catch up. But please type in during chat, via chat, if anything is too fast, and I will slow it down for you. So if you get this, like I did, the digital signature verification, just click Run. It'll work for that. Okay, and then you'll get something that looks a little like this. This is really tiny on the screen. Okay, so when you first open it, you go into what we call an Edit Query view, and this is how you create the report, how you narrow down your search to get the report results you want. Okay, so there are three main sections. One is this data section right here. The data section are all the fields that are available to you to run the report. The result objects right here, this large one on the top right, those are the fields that you actually want to display on your report. And query filters down here, that's the area where you put everything in that you want, all the fields that will help you narrow down your search to get the exact results you want. So we talked a little bit about the data dictionary, and that correlates to this data field here. You can see if I collapse this little folder, there are a lot of different folders. And the data dictionary, like I said before, all the fields here listed are the same as the same order as the data dictionary. So you'll be able to find those fields if you need to. It's probably pretty helpful to have the data dictionary next to you as a review when you're trying to create reports so you know exactly where the fields are. Okay, so if we want to move fields to this top part, this result objects, the fields you want to be shown on your report, you can do one of several things. You can double click and it will pop right up there to the result objects. Or you can click and drag like I just dragged it back off. And you saw I can drag it back off, or you can hit the delete key and it will delete it off the top. Okay? So when we move fields to the bottom, you'll see it looks a little different. It gives you some options. So when when you have something on the bottom, you can see it says in list. There are several options that you can choose. In list, it means one or many. So maybe case status is active and pending, you'd make it in list. In our ad hoc report writing manual, I have an explanation of what all of these mean. So now I clicked, you might not have seen that. There's this little, it looks like a little bulleted list and a little down arrow. When you click it, you get some different options. Now this is how you want to choose what will narrow down your results. So if I click, let's say, values from list, it's going to pull up all of the choices that I have available for case status. So you can click active, pending, all of these options. And I double click them to make them go over here, or you can click and you can hit this little arrow to make them pop over or back. So there's several options for you to move them back and forth between these. But all of these items on the right-hand side are what's going to actually show, narrow down our results on a report. So I click OK, and you can see it popped them into this field. Now, you can type them with the semicolon if you want to, but you need to know the exact syntax, caps, everything. All the fields in our system are all caps. I think the only exception might be case notes, but we might have fixed that. But so when in doubt, use caps. That's usually why people have run reports and they get no results, is because they did something down here in the query filters that doesn't exactly match the report. Okay. So I have pending and reopen on case status. Let's see what else we could put in here. For counties, you saw I scrolled down here under this patient registration folder, right here. If you scroll to the end of that folder, you get this little filter called current legal county. Now, for counties, it's very important that you put that on all of your reports. You click and drag that to the bottom, because if you do not put that in there, you will get all cases that were ever in your county, like I was talking about before, how you can pull that information. But this filter will ensure that the clients are currently registered in your county. For state staff, instead of using the filter, my recommendation, if you're pulling just a couple counties, is you can pull in the current legal county and you can type the county's name in all caps with a semicolon, or we have current legal county code if you want to instead type the county codes with a semicolon. It's really up to you. Okay, so let's current legal county. Okay, so I have case status up here. And one field that we have is pretty useful is if you scroll all the way to the bottom, we have this measures folder. When you open the measures folder, there is something called participant count. What this does is it counts anything you have up here. So what this is going to give me is all the case statuses that I have listed here, as long as I have at least one, and it will give me the summary total of each count. So it's actually a pretty useful tool. Okay, so once I have all of my query filters, my objects, this is what I want shown on the report, you can click this Run Query button. And it might, if you've been following along and moving all of your fields in and trying to do exactly what I did, it might take you a little longer to run the report, just so you know. But it does take a few seconds to pop up. Once that finishes running, you can see these are the results we got. Here we have active, pending, reopen, pending, and then we have the counts for each one for the county that I pulled. So let's say you ran this report and the information is pretty neat, but you'd actually like to add some fields to the report. So you can see we have these different buttons up here. One says Edit Query, one says Edit Report. Right now we're on Edit Report because it's showing us the actual data, the fields that have been returned. So if you click Edit Query again, it'll go back to that same view where you can add more fields. So let's say we also want last name, first letter. I know a lot of counties use that for caseload distribution. So it's right here, and I'm going to pull it up to the top. Okay, so we just pulled up another piece of information, right? Now we click Run Query again. And it thinks, and it tells you last time it took 17 seconds to run. Yours might be longer again. Okay. Now we see the report, but look, last name, first letter is not anywhere on the report. That's because whenever you run a report, Business Objects only helps you putting the fields on the report the first time. Every other time, you have to add it to the report and then add it to the query. Add it to the query and then add it to the report. So you can see right here, this is the data field for the report view, all the fields that we wanted on the report. And this is actually how the report's going to look here on the right-hand side. So if I click and hold with my left mouse button this last name, first letter, and drag it over here, you can see it's starting to give me some options where to put it. Now, you don't want to do, you see right here it says drop here to replace a cell, and it looks like it's kind of overwriting what's currently there. That's what it is going to do. It's going to overwrite participant count with last name, first letter. So what you would like to see is what it looks like here. It's kind of a little bit of manual dexterity, but you want the text to say drop here to insert a cell. And you can see you can drop it pretty much anywhere on the left or right-hand side of every field in the table. So if I let go, now it's showing me all actives and then each last name, first letter, and the count. Okay. So let's see, what do we want to do next? So once you have these fields on your report, there are a lot of things you can do to make the report pretty. Now, I'm not going to go through everything because it's actually pretty robust, but I'll go through some important pieces that might make your reports look pretty good at the beginning. Okay. So you can drag things around. See, I can click this report title and click and drag it here to the top. I can double click and have the option to change it. See, then and I hit enter to change the title. I can click on a column and the column highlights it, and then I can do things to the column such as add counts, which is pretty helpful. So you click the E or the sigma, and then you can click sum, count, so I would click the sum because I want how many of each of these, and then scroll to the bottom. This is the total. I like to put total instead of sum for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what I like to do. You can click the field and then make it bold. You can make these bold. You can shift click to select multiple to make something bold or not bold, or so you can change the font size, color, field, or the cell color. You can do all of that in here. So it's, like I said, it's pretty robust. What Business Objects does is whatever is the first row, it makes that A to Z sort by default. So you can see if I drag last name, first letter here, it should start, yeah, see, it's sorted it now by last name, first letter instead of case status. You can right-click, see it made an extra cell here, or extra row, and I don't want it, so I right-click, and I can click remove. And I can remove the column. One thing I do want to tell you is we do have an undo button. You can see I accidentally made the rows wider. If you click and hold, you can make the rows wider or the columns wider. But I didn't really want to do that. So all you do is you click the undo button. And in this version, you can click the undo button lots of times. So when in doubt, click undo and then try again. So now I'm right-clicking and I'm going to remove this column because I don't want it there. You can change the titles. I want it just to be called count. Okay. I'm going to drag this up here too. Okay, so maybe I like how that looks right now and I want to save it. So you can see there's a little diskette up here, and you click the little down arrow next to it, and you can click Save As. This will save it to Business Objects. And you can see I have a lot of folders. You can create folders to do organization if you like. That's under that main structure right when you get in Business Objects, that document list. You can add folders there. So let's put it under testing. You name it whatever you want, and then if you click this advanced, it gives you some additional options that are pretty neat. The main one is this refresh on open. Now, if you click this, every time after you save the report, maybe you go back into it tomorrow. If you click refresh on open, it will refresh your report with the data as of yesterday in CMSNet. If you leave it unchecked, it'll just have the old data. So if you want always new data in your report, you click that refresh on open right here. And then I can click OK. And my report is now saved. Hopefully pretty easy. Okay, so there are a couple more things that I'd like to show you on this report view. One of the things are sections and breaks. You can break the data into little pieces. So one way you do it is if you click a field and you hold it, you can drag it up. I don't think I gave myself enough room. Nope, I didn't. Drag this down. You need a little room at the top to do it. You click and hold, you can see if I have it between the title and the table, it says drop here to create a section. So if I let it go, now it's in big sections, so it starts with active, and then it just has the count and the last name first letter for each one, and then the total of each one. All right. I just clicked undo, so it goes back to the old version. Okay. We also have what are called breaks, and they break up the data too, but it still keeps it all in the same table for the most part. It's just not quite as evident. You can see now I clicked active. I click whatever column I want to do something with, and then I click to this little, looks like a little hashy mark icon, and it did what's called a break. And you can see now it's grouped by active. It doesn't have the title on the top like a section break, but it grouped it all together. And then if you wanted to add the totals, you just click the sum on the whatever column you want to do it on, and then it'll just add it up for you. That's another way. One thing I forgot, this report really doesn't have it, but we have page numbers here. So if you have a really large report, you can click the page, next page, go to last, go to first, or type whatever page you want to go to and click enter. It's very similar to a lot of different pagination you've probably seen in other applications. Okay, so let's say I actually prefer section breaks for some reason. I don't really know why, but I like section breaks. You can see because I did most of the corporate documents, they have a lot of section breaks just because I think they're pretty. Okay, get you up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to save it again because I've done a couple of changes. And when I click OK, see, it's already saved it once. It's just making sure you want to overwrite what you've already done. So we do, so I will click yes. Okay, so we have this really pretty report, but how do we get it onto our computer? So the easiest way is probably clicking the little down arrow next to Save. And you can see it says Save to my computer as. And you can click Excel, PDF, or text. And text is the comma-separated values, or CSV format. So when you click it here, see it's asking me to save it. I'm just going to save it to my desktop so I can open it. Oh, it doesn't look like my computer. Okay. And here is the report in Excel. Now, if you have any problems saving to Excel, if Internet Explorer is stopping you anyway or something flashes and stops, it's because of Internet Explorer settings. And in our, I don't remember if I put it in the corporate document manual or the report writing manual, but one of the manuals has information on how to correct that issue. Okay. So if you have a report, this one only has one tab, but if you have a report with lots of different tabs on here, which I do occasionally in corporate documents, if you are in just the report view, you'll see Save to my computer as and a different little option that says Save report to my computer as. Saving report to my computer as will only save the current tab you're on. But Save to my computer as will save the entire business objects report, all tabs. Another thing we can do is we can rename tabs. If you right-click on, say, this report 1, you can rename the report to make it more useful to you. It's really up to you. It's just kind of cosmetic when you're seeing business objects information. Okay, so if you click this little print button, it will print to PDF, at least on my computer. Sometimes it goes to a printer. It's kind of, I usually save as Excel and then print it so I know exactly where it's going. Or you can save as PDF and then print it. That's probably my recommendation, is to use one of these. It's a little more, sometimes we are not exactly sure what happens on everyone's computer. So this is our recommendation. Okay. Okay, so you have this really neat report, but now you want to send it to someone so then they can see exactly, maybe you created this really neat report and you think some friends either in your county or maybe even in another county might want to see it. So go to your report. I clicked the little minus or plus to make it a minus to open this little My Favorites area. And then if you click on whatever folder you saved it in, you can see it. Okay. So what you do is you click on it to highlight it. And then you click this little drop down that says Send To. And then click Business Objects Inbox. And then it might take a little longer at your desk to fire up, but when you do, you can see it looks pretty blank. It's kind of confusing. So the first thing you have to do is uncheck this Use Default Settings. And then once you do, you'll be able to choose some people to send it to. So you need to know their user ID. It's not based on their name. And you can type in a portion. It doesn't matter. So there's Divya, and I'll send it to her. Maybe I want to send it to Walter, too. So watch what happens if I start typing his name. See, it didn't find anything, so you're kind of confused until you look over here, and it searched for Walter's user ID within Divya's. So every time you add someone over here, you need to click this user list and then search for them, and then you'll find them. I'm sorry, there are a lot of things that we wish could have been done by default, but unfortunately it's not possible, so we just have to let everyone know how to send things. This is another one is for target name, I like to click this radio button next to use specific name, and then under the add placeholder I click title, so it sends this exact title, this webinar case status test, it sends that to the user. If you don't do that, it'll put a colon and then 5 or 6 digits of just numbers, some 5 or 6 digit code. So I like to do that. And then this is really important, you need to click copy. If you click shortcut, they'll get something in their inbox, but it will be black. Okay, so once you click copy, and you have specific name, and you have the IDs you want to send, you just click the submit button. And now it's sent to them. Now they have it in their inbox. All right, so another thing we can do is we can schedule reports. So what you do is you click on the report to highlight it. Then you right-click, and you click Schedule. And there's lots of information, and you probably don't need all of it. So when you schedule something, click on this Recurrence. And what this does is this will enable you to tell you, this will enable you to schedule when you want it to run. So a lot of people want either weekly or monthly reports. So you can see you can do weekly, monthly, you can do first day of the month, first Monday of the month, the last day of the month. There's a lot of options. I usually schedule my reports for nth day of the month because I want to run on the 1st. Since Business Objects has data as of yesterday, it'll be the last day of whatever prior month. So I always click nth day of the month, and see it always is day is 1, so you can make day whatever day you want it to be. And I'm not sure if you type 31st, if the month does not have a 31, I'm not sure exactly what happens. So that might be some testing, we need to figure that out. But I usually just do 1. And the start and end time are defaulted to whatever time it currently is. So it's about 11:28. So you can change that to whatever you want it to be. Okay. There are other options. I don't think a lot of them work. Like you can't do email recipients. Business Objects doesn't allow you to email anyone, so that one doesn't work. You can make it go to someone's Business Objects inbox via that, and I think if you click schedule it works. I don't know. I did it on my computer, but usually I just schedule them to run right in my inbox, so I'm not really familiar with that. But I went back to Recurrence. You can see I went to Formats and Destinations for the inbox scheduling piece. But I'm going back to Recurrence because this is really the meat of the scheduling, is the Recurrence area. Okay. So if I click Schedule, this report's going to now run on the 1st of every month. And you can see this is actually the little schedule that we just made. And if you want to edit it, you can click on this little schedule, and then you can, I think it's this little piece of paper. Oh no, that's not it. Actions reschedule. There we go. You can see we're still learning this new system. I mean, we got it in July, but it's still a little different. Okay, so let me go back and show you what it looks like when there are scheduled reports. Do I have any? I can look on the corporate document. Okay, I'm not going to open any of these reports, but I just don't have any. Okay, I think I need to open my CHD reports. Here we go. Okay, so if you do have a scheduled report, It's very evident by this instances right here, you can see. So anything with instances, you can get a history on the instances. So I click it, and then I right-click. And then if you click History, it will show you all the times it ran. And if you click any of these hyperlinks, it will actually pull up the report for that date. So that's how you can get the history of any of your schedule. There's a lot of them for this report.
Looks like there was maybe a couple that maybe failed.
Yeah, sometimes they will fail if the system messes up. I see these are all, yeah, the recurring, that's actually the scheduled. You can see it has a little bit of a different icon if it's the actual scheduled instance versus what actually ran. But they do fail, and that's a good point. Sometimes if they've done a back-end change, it'll fail. Or if the system just happened to be down at that time, we occasionally run into that. It probably shouldn't be too much of an issue, but they will fail. And then you just need to rerun the report or wait for the next time it's scheduled, and it should be okay. But again, we can help with any issues you have with scheduling specific. Okay, that's about all I had for an overview of how to use the system. Were there any other questions on things you might want to do in the report writing? Walter is looking at your comments that you're typing in, or you can at this time use the, what is it called? There's a little icon that says, it has a little hand that's like raise hand or something, and then Walter can enable you to talk if you want to do it through audio. I can, if you are getting a question, you can type it in, but there is one other thing that I'd like to talk to you about, and that's a lot of people don't want to create reports from scratch. They want to use reports that we've already created. And it's a little bit tricky, so let me show you how to do that. Most of them are these eligibility reports here. So if you want to, let's say you want these all active cases, but you want to edit it to be more useful in your county, what you do is you click the report so it's highlighted, and then if you click Organize, you can click Copy. And then you go into your My Favorites folder. And then wherever you want to put it in the My Favorites. And then you can click Organize and Paste. And you can see now it's here, and now you can edit it because you can't actually directly edit the corporate documents. But once you paste them into your My Favorites area, you can edit them. Okay. So were there any questions? Okay, so again, if you need any additional help, we do have an actual report writing manual that has, in alphabetical order, a lot of the different things you can do in report writing. And if there's anything that's not covered that you want to know about, please let us know and we will add it to the manual. We also would like to have these trainings on more of an ongoing basis where we talk about specific topics where, for instance, you can create multiple queries and then multiple reports in one business objects report. The multiple tabs, there's a lot of interesting things you can do. You can do forms, you can create fields, you can make formulas, all those things we'd like to create little mini trainings to train people on, because they're a little bit weighty to talk about in an introductory class. So please, you can submit it to cmshelp@dhcs.ca.gov, and we'd love to talk about it. So I guess that's it. Thank you very much for listening in, and please, again, let us know if there are any questions at all. We are more than willing to help you with your reporting needs. So thank you very much.